Boom. We are live. What is happening, everybody? Happy Hump Day, February 1st. Just getting back in, trying to stay in a groove. As many of you know, maybe some of you don't, maybe some of you do. I've been dealing with a pretty scary family medical issue. In a nutshell, basically my mother has pancreatic cancer, and so I'm dealing with that, and ultimately what the ultimate outcome is. And of course, we all know, maybe you've had somebody in your life that is you've dealt with that before. This is my first time dealing with the ultimate, basically the death of a family member, but dealing with somebody who has a terminal cancer. It's kind of tough. So anyway, I didn't get a ton done this week. I've been working on, I glued some of this is the vinyl Macross 172 kit here in front of you. I have been, I glued some of the subsections together. I'm still working on a few pieces, but everything's basically been trimmed. All the excess material has been trimmed away, and some has been adjusted and trimmed again. But there's still a couple of pieces like this. I've got to glue this together. There's going to be a fairly decent seam there that has to be done, taken care of or addressed at that time. And then there's another fairly huge gap that's going to be, or when I get the chest piece done, but that's going to come later because of the way I have to build this. I basically have to paint this piece first and paint the back piece first, and then be joining them together. Oh, hey, what is up, Dave? How you doing? I'm surprised to see you in here. Good to have you. This is my brother. Just hanging out, talking about my what I'm working on. The other project I had going was the Iwata Architect Advanced Research Colonizer. This guy here, in case you hadn't seen what it looks like in the box, it's basically a starship that looks like, what's up, George? How you doing, my buddy? Looks like an airbrush, but it's actually a spacecraft. So I got some of that, the painting done to that. This is basically, I primed everything, and then I've got them in flat black here, and then I have these labeled by colors because what color I'm going to paint those. But that's where I was at. I hadn't got a lot done because of all of the other stuff going on in real life. So I'm going to continue working on the vinyl kit tonight. I've got some fitting issues to take care of, and maybe some more trimming. I'm going to maybe glue this together and go on from there. So throw a question in the comments and I'll answer it. So yeah. Anyway, so my brother is in Arizona. He's with our mother tonight, and this week has been nice enough to work remotely out there, which is kind of cool. And I've been here sorting out I finally got my other W-2s from my employer that, the other dealership I worked for last year. I finally got that so I can plug in the numbers and see how I can take some time off and deal with that. So, but anyway, let's get back to this. Yeah, I will message you on the side, George. I do have some info, but I've got to call the family tonight and get an update on today. Today was some pretty big appointments that were one big appointment anyway that was done today, and I still have to talk to the family to get an update on that. But Everything is starting to fall into place as far as her care and stuff. So that's the good news. I think I'm going to find out more about that. Like I said, probably after the broadcast. So we'll talk about that on the side, because I don't want to go into too much detail. In fact, I don't have all the information, so it'd be really difficult for me to elaborate on that, I should say. So I've got the shoulder sections here. Okay, no worries. Yeah, thank you, sir. I appreciate it. I appreciate all the well wishes I've been getting from everybody during this trying time. But I hope that everybody, if anybody does go through something like this, they've got the support of their family, and they can spend time with their loved ones, as much time and enjoy it, that time. Sometimes it's about quality over quantity. It's not necessarily about having a ton of time left. It's about how well you spend it and how well you live during that time. So, but as you can see, I glued a lot of these pieces together. I still have the arm here that I can connect this if I want. I was hesitant. I'm trying to figure out if I should glue this together or just paint these two pieces separately. Did you say, sir? Yeah, Dave, I got a call. Cindy's messaged me too, and she said I'll talk to you later tonight. So I'll find out. I'll get all the info from her. No big deals. I can call you or call her. It doesn't matter. Did I say sir? And that's why you're laughing? Well, I'm respecting my elders, right? Oh, did I just say that? Oh, that was a dig. I'm sorry, George. I know you're just a few years older than me. Don't worry about it. Hey, how you doing? John, Big John, Fozzie Bear just jumped in. Well put, Mike. Quality over quantity. Yeah, that's where we're at. And if my brother's watching, there's a good chance my mother is too, because he's over there with her in Arizona right now. So I don't want to break down and start crying on camera, but it's an emotional time for everybody. So anyway, getting back to what I was talking about here, I'm hesitant to glue these two together because it might be a lot easier to paint them separately and then just pop it on, because there's a nice keyed fitting here. It fits really nicely. And as you can see from the original, this guy, this is the arm I was talking about here. So when I did this guy, hand painted everything. So it's a lot. I think this one's going to come out a lot nicer. Oh, another thing that I did was I also, Big John says hi, Mom. I also filled these with some like a liquid gasket. So I kind of squeezed the tube in there to kind of give these some weight. So hopefully when I do glue these together, it'll be a little more stable. This one was a little bit wonky because of how lightweight it is. So I'm trying to make the leg portions here a little bit heavier, so they kind of have a little bit more lower center of gravity and ballast there to keep them on. So, but I got a little bit of maybe some trimming to do. The biggest challenge is going to be this chest piece, and I'll show you this. This is like the neck and part of the shoulders here, and it pops right in to this section here. So if you can see that, it's kind of hard because I even diffused my lights a little bit, but the head portion basically pops on just like this. So that may make it a little bit easier to see what I'm doing. So this shoulder piece, or the neck here, kind of pops into the center, and then you've got the top of the shoulders, and this is kind of a tight fit, but I did it that way on purpose. So this has got to fit kind of like that. Okay. But you see these huge gaps? There's going to be a gap on either side, and I've got to figure out how to fill that. And I know I can do some of it just by pressing it tightly and gluing it. That'll take care of some of it, but I'm going to have to either putty fill that, or I can't remember if I just pressed it together like on the original or filled it. I really can't remember what I did to fix that. But that's really the biggest gap issue that I've seen so far with this new one. I will say that I think the details on this one, because this is the Takusa kit, I think they're better than the original. Like they look a little crisper and they're going to be easier to see in panel line later on. But because there's a lot of painting to be done inside, I've got to kind of paint these two pieces separately and then bring them together. Or I think maybe, well, I don't know. What might be a better idea is to paint the inside, not worry about the top of the shoulders. Hey, what's up, Forest Ghost? Mike, what's up, Michael? Michael, I can't remember what you prefer, but I think your name is Mike, right? Anyway, so it fits really nicely. I think there's just going to be some gaps that I've got to. Yeah, that's Michael. I knew that. I get that from watching your show, George. We got too many mics in the room. We always start losing track of who's who. So I can hold this together and get a nice tight fit here, but I'm going to have to fix the shoulders. So that will be something I've got to do during the process of assembly. I can't really take care of it now because if I glue this all together now, I won't be able to effectively paint what's inside here in this section. So, and what I'm using for glue is doing good, Mike. Good to see you. Yeah, is I'm using the Bob Smith Industries glue, and then I also have some. Well, I have it in a squeegee, but this is the Instacure for that. But I put it in this little squeeze tube that I bought on Amazon with these little needles. Makes it very easy to pinpoint where you want that to go. So put down the CA glue, stick it on there, put a drop of that accelerator on there, and it just instantly seizes up and it makes the process quite a bit quicker. So I may put some more of these together. The right arm, this is the hand that actually grips the gun and gun pod, but this has got to be something because I've got to glue this on, and then there's a little you can see in the top, maybe you see at the top of the arm here, there's like a little divot hole right there on the top. There's a dimple on the bottom of the gun pod that actually fits in that, so it gives you a proper alignment of how this holds on the arm. Come on, refocus, camera. Good God, my stupid camera won't refocus. There we go. Come on. You can do it. There we go. So I got to glue the hand on, but I also have to glue the gun at kind of the same time, and then everything's got to kind of fit together to get the proper alignment on that. So these are all little things that I'm starting to remember having to go through the first time I did this kit. So anywho, how's everybody's hump day going? I'm glad mine's over. I'm enjoying some nice Carmenere from Lord Lion and drinking it from a Lord Lion glass. Very sophisticated tonight, yes. Cheers, everybody. Yes, that Michael Wine is drinking wine. Imagine that. So, let's see. I think I'm going to set this chest piece aside for a second and focus on this. This is the back and the shoulders. There's also another piece that has to go on the back here. But this is where the folded wing section kind of pops in here. And I think because this is a vinyl kit and everything's it doesn't fit perfectly together, it's easy to glue one section and then you can kind of start gluing everything else and pressing it together and holding it, and it will keep its shape. But I think because this is my biggest seam issue here. What wine, Mr. Wine? What wine? It's Lord Lion. That's the name of the winery. And this is a Carmenere, which is a delicious red. And the cool part about this winery, well, sad part is they're closing. They're retiring. We've been members with them for a while here in Washington, and they're retiring finally. And so they've discounted everything, and they had case discounts of like 75% off if you bought a case of a single type of wine, and you just can't beat that price with a stick. So we ended up, we bought some wine. We bought like 3 boxes of that shit. How is the painting for the Starship going? Oh, well, you came in just a bit late, John. No worries, I can back up a bit. I've been busy with all this going on, and all the family stuff going on. So I did get, this is only a portion of some of the parts. I did get primer and black on most of them. And you see the stickers here, 29 and 315 at the other end. That is for the color that these parts are going to be painted. I have them stuck in this board in a way that I can keep track of, because this is going to be like that. Everything over here. Oops, let me get this stuff out of the way because I'm knocking it over. Everything here, these smaller parts, this is all going to be done in that hull red color. And then these are going to be, the 315 is the lightest gray of the Starship. And I've got another 50 or so parts, probably even more, on other skewers next to the spray booth. So I wanted to get more of that done. But again, this has been a trying time right now, and I've been trying to do as much as I can between broadcasts to share with you some decent content. But it's been tough right now with everything that's going on. There's also some windows. I don't know if you can see, like this piece has a row of windows across. Now there's one of these on the top and the bottom of the ship. So I think what I want to do is, before I do the gray over these, is I'm going to mask those little windows off. And that way, when I do pull the paint, they'll just be blacked out windows. I think that'll look nice, rather than just painting the whole piece gray. That looks like windows to me, so that's what I'm going to do. I mean, most of this thing has windows built into it that light will be shining through with the light kit, but that piece there doesn't have those windows. They're just molded into the plastic. So I think what I'm going to do is black or mask them off, so when I do paint it, they'll stay black, and then I can clear coat it from there, and they'll just look like blacked out windows. So George loves red wine. Well, yeah, you should. Every respectable model builder should. Yes. See, there you go. Yes, and it is a very good one. But I did bring up some beer too, so it's good. There are going to be multiple selections going on tonight, I think. Lately, I've been drinking like a fish. As you can imagine, unfortunately, that's what we do when we're trying to relieve stress a little bit. So I've also trimmed and got the head turrets done. That's what these two guys are. There is some patchwork that I have to do on the turrets themselves. There's some mold defects that kind of left little, probably air bubbles or something in the mold. So when they pulled these out, they look like little blemishes on the turrets. So I will go ahead and fill those with some CA glue, probably just sand them down and make those disappear. But those will go on the side of the head here, and I can kind of show you what that's going to look like. So let's see here if I can hold both of these without dropping them. I say that because I've done it 100 times. So something like that. Maybe not that straight up of an angle. Actually, I think I want, because the original one I did kind of straight up. I think I want to tilt these forward a little bit. So maybe having them at more of a forward incline, maybe something like that. We'll see. I think it'll look different, look better. And then there's two of these flat pieces here. These basically take up the space under, like, the body cavity. Where the shoulders come together this way, they kind of go under here in the middle. So you'll be able to see that a lot better, I think, once I prime this stuff. And I'm still not sure if I need to clean this. I didn't do any cleaning to it. I think once I get these pieces glued together, I may actually take some soap and water and a toothbrush and just brush these off clean them up, let them dry, and then shoot some primer on them when it comes time. But this is not my priority. This kit is just something to fill in time between the steps that were on the colonizer. So I may or may not finish this right away because I'm really eyeballing that Optimus Prime that I got, and I want to start building that. It's calling to me from the backlog. It's screaming at me, really, going, "Build me!" So let's see. What should I do? What should I start next? I think I'm going to. I might actually go, now that I've got these filled with stuff, I might actually just put these pieces together. I spent a little more time last night fine-tuning the trimming on these to get these to fit fairly easy without tension. In other words, there was extra material in the gap here that I had to kind of shave down to get this to fit, because it was kind of forcing it in and spreading the leg opening here a little bit because there was just too much. So I had to carefully trim it down. So now it fits in really nice without any real gaps. But I don't know. I think I'm pretty good there. I don't need to go anymore. So I may seal these up, and then they'll be ready to be cleaned, and they'll be watertight, and I can prime them and do all that. Or I can leave, either that or I can leave it apart, because this gives me something to put a skewer in that I can hold on to this and paint the whole thing. Or otherwise I got to paint it in sections, I don't know. Drop everything for the new shiny thing. I know. I'm not one to do that. I typically, when I start something, I used to kind of pride myself on that, saying that I never leave a project unfinished. I would always start it and finish it, right? But there's only a couple times where I actually started something and then did not finish it, and I came back to it later. I finished it eventually, but the first one was the Elan Kshatriya kit. It was a Chinese kit, the 1/100 Kshatriya, and the problem with it was I had just finished doing like this big Sotheby 1.0 with a resin conversion kit. So it took a long time finishing that conversion kit. And it was a difficult project. It was the first time I'd ever dealt with resin. And so I get done with that, and then the first thing I open after it is the Elan Kshatriya, and it instantly started off with wiring problems and fit issues, and I just realized, you know what? I am not doing this right now. When you talk about having a kit or something that you want to do a cool-off build, something you can just kind of chill and do an easy project without something too complicated, that was not it. So I put that back in the box and came back to it after I finished something else. So here's the cockpit section. This will glue on under here, and that's all trimmed up and ready to go. It's kind of a funky angle to it, but I think I'm going to do these colors in Hikaru colors, so it'll be nice to see this chest panel in red. This will be kind of cool. Cool down build, never heard of it. Oh, that's because George and I are horrible at saying we're going to do cool down builds, because we always end up complicating the shit out of everything we build. We start with something simple, and we make it more complicated by adding LEDs or some other crap. That's for me anyway, or photo etch or a bunch of other stuff. So that's the kind of funky angle that chest piece. But when it comes together, it all looks kind of like this. Boom. And looking back at this, I did a decent job of sanding the seam here, because I'm seeing where this wing section comes together, and the seam's pretty much hidden all the way around except on the sides. But then it looks like I pinched all this together and glued it so it's all in one piece. Yeah. He knows. Wow. This thing is so old. I'm just glad it's stayed together all these years. But I think I am going to do what I did with this. Eventually, one of these, there was a time I had this thing in my cabinet for such a long time, and then I had some spare, really thin pigskin leather, and I cut this strip of it and made a gun strap out of it. And I glued that to it years later after it had been finished. But I think I'm going to do the same for this one because there's a little attachment point here, and then it just attaches to the back. So I got to go through my leather stash and make a little strap for it. But that's another problem to deal with later. So, all right, I've been talking about it. Now we're going to do it. I'm going to glue this wing section on here. And I'm just going to start with, well, I guess I could, let me do a test fit again because I've got to be certain, I don't know, because I can use a toothpick. I'm just thinking out loud here, guys. Sorry, I'm going to keep talking myself through this because I'm trying to figure out what's the easiest way to do this. I'm going to have to do some sanding and trimming. But yeah, this back seam, that seam is not going to be seen. It's interesting because they did a good job of planning out the assembly of this to at least hide some of these seams. Tiny bit that has to be done. All right. I just don't want to glue. I think I can use a toothpick though. Yeah, what I'm going to do, I'm going to glue this back seam, or the seam that's going to be kind of hidden, but I'm going to leave this off until this dries on this side, and then I can kind of let some glue wick in underneath that and then pinch it together and hold that. That'll kind of make it really solid. And then I can also get these edges as close to what I can, the corner pieces here on the outside where the wings are. Kind of get those edges to stay together and line up. And the nice part about this glue is that it's a gap filler, so I can just add a little bit at a time until I get a nice bead over that section and then just sand it down once it's dry, and use the Instaset, and it dries almost instantly. So yeah. All right. The better your cuts when you trim this stuff down, the better this fits. And it was tough getting this straight cut all the way across this piece. So fortunately, I don't have too much of a gap to fill. There is a little bit there though. Yeah, no worries. That's what makes us experienced model builders, I guess. We deal with the challenges that the kit throws at you, and you fix them. You know, all stuff that we never used to do earlier in our model building days. We just let it go. That's why stuff takes so long to get done anymore. CA glue is the best, right, Forrest? Yeah, you were using some on your tank this morning. I saw you gluing that handle back on that you accidentally knocked off. I'm just dreading that with that Valkyrie and the canopy. The canopy is so fragile because there's little tiny photo etch hinges that hold it up, and it's just glued to the back of the cockpit. And I actually knocked it off one time on a live stream. I was showing it off to everybody, and one of my pieces of the background of the back wall dropped off and knocked it off right there on the stream. And I was like, oh God, now I've got to fix this. And I was just dreading trying to glue those things back on. So I got some CA glue on here. Unfortunately, this stuff is not, it doesn't set instantly. It gives you a little bit of time to move it around. I'm just trying to get it as get it close, and then I'll hit it with the Instaset, and then I can gap fill it later. Purpose of this first fit here is just to get it in position, and then I can fit everything together. So this is sliding back and forth, and that's what I'm doing. I'm trying to line up all these detail lines so there'll be as little sanding as possible later. Of course, it will set on me if I wait too long, so I've got to keep kind of moving it around until I'm satisfied with where it's at, and then I'll hit it with the... Okay, here we go. And this is just an Instaset. It's really fast. I need a paper towel because there is some excess, and that's okay to kind of soak that up with a towel. The rest that will sit there will dry it. Yeah, boy, these edges are kind of rough, but we'll fix them because I've got tools that I didn't have years ago when I built that first one, chisels and all sorts of things that I can reshape these seams with and really make a difference. The worst glue ever. Oh, come on. Why is CA glue the worst? Here, you'll think it's the worst when you try to use it on fiber optics. Then you'll realize that you made a mistake. And you'll hear that voice going, it was at that moment he realized he fucked up. And you realize that CA glue is too aggressive with fiber optics and it jacks with the whole thing. So now that I've got this piece on here, it's set. Because I use that Instaset, it's on there. I can go ahead and glue around the back of this. I can't. Yeah, there we go. I get it. This. I got to go around this seam here with the glue. Question, Mike. Okay, wait 1 second here. Do you ever use CA glue and baking soda gap filling? I have not. Here's the question George said. I have heard of that, and I have not done it personally. Typically, I just build up the glue and just, I guess, if some serious gaps, like maybe the one I was talking about earlier on the sides of the shoulders here, that might be an idea of using that as a gap filler. But most of the time, I'm only filling small seams, and I tend to just build up a layer, a little bit of layers, and then use the Instaset on it to kind of fill gaps that way. But I've never tried baking soda. Like I said, I have heard of it, but I haven't tried it personally. Yeah, that is set too. It is not moving. I was going to try to readjust this side over here, but I think I'm just going to have to sand it. So now that I've got that kind of in place, now I can go ahead. It gives you a little bit of freedom here to use a toothpick and glue the rest of this down. So where are we at? 6:30. Man, that's good stuff. Oops. I use a toothpick, but I want to use one that's kind of got, there we go. Got several toothpicks, but that one was too big an end on it. I like having a fairly sharp end. Have you, George, used baking soda as a filler? I have not, but I'm just curious to see if it's like a go-to type gap filler, because I guess if you got really big gaps, yeah, that might be the way to go. I've got a fairly decent one here, but because this is vinyl, it's flexible, and I can kind of shove this glue underneath and then stick it down and just work my way around. I'm just taking off a little bit, and I can wipe off the excess. It's not going to hurt anything. There is going to be some excess. I just don't want to fill all of those lines. There's some panel lines there that I don't want to fill. Let's see, once I get that, hit it with a drop. Yeah, there we go. Set it. You have used CA glue, usually less critical gaffling. Yeah, it seems like maybe that's what I was thinking of. It seems like, if you're just trying to clog up a big area that's not going to be seen, you're not trying to be super neat about it, maybe. I don't know. Maybe that's lack of a better term. All right, I'm going to get this under here, under this edge. Got a little bit more to go around the corner here. Because this glue is already pretty much a good gap filler, it's almost like I used to use Zap-A-Gap all the time. Zap-A-Gap used to be my go-to because they had a gap filling formula, set it right on the label. I mean, even this says gap filling on it. The Zap-A-Gap used to be the thing that I used all the time. But when I bought this, because it was on Amazon, it was something Tim was using. Tim Harkins was using it, and I thought, all right, I'll give it a try. So I bought it, and very satisfied with how it works. All right, so yeah, hit that with that accelerator. Of course, I can see these panel lines, so in case I do accidentally fill one with some glue here, I can use one of my scribers and just read. There we go. You only have a short period of time to really manipulate this after you hit it with the Instacure or the Instaset. So what I'm doing is I'm taking this paper towel and I'm wiping off the excess Instaset and any CA glue that might be coming out. So there's nothing left to. Instaset is good, but I hate the smell. Really? I don't have much of a smell. Needs to be cleaned to use, very oily. Well, yeah, I don't typically use it on painted surfaces, but I guess I see what you're saying. Because most of it evaporates away. That's why I'm really just taking up the bulk of it. If there is an extra drop or two on there, I'm just getting rid of that. These little droppers are nice with the needle. It gives you pretty good control. You just have to make sure not to accidentally touch the glue as you're going down, because you will clog that tip really easily. If you get some glue in there, of course, with the Instaset, it's going to instantly plug that hole. I got to turn on the CA with acrylic. Let's put this up. Well, first I'll put George's up here and we'll go back. That Instaset is good. The smell needs to be clean. Kind of oily. Yeah, I suppose that's right. I've not had that issue. I got turned on the CA glue, dental resin powder. Oh yeah, okay. I guess dental resin powder is kind of the same as like the baking soda. I guess in the same respect, same strength but easier to shape. That's cool. That's really cool. Again, I built this original vinyl kit years ago before I had any skills with airbrushing and gap filling. I mean, I was winging it. The nice part about this, having to glue this together, is it's kind of flattened out these wings because they were kind of twisted a little bit with the mold, the way it was in the packaging. It kind of distorted it a little bit, but because I'm having to combine these pieces, it's actually helping to straighten those wings out a little bit. Just adding a little more glue to get it to wick in under this. Yeah. Yeah, and make sure when you put a toothpick in your mouth that you don't put the wrong end in your mouth. Just saying. I could see that becoming a problem real quick, huh? Oh. Forrest is going to send us a link for that dental, or send George a link for that dental resin powder. How is that resin powder? I mean, is it, when I hear the word resin, I think of odor too, maybe, perhaps, but how is that? Does it not have a strong odor? All right, so now that I've got this thing kind of set here, I can trim down the excess. There's a little bit of an overlap here, so I'm going to trim off some of this vinyl, but then I can go back and fill the gap with the CA glue. Just taking off a little bit at a time, even out that line. There's a little bit on this side too. I may have to use a chisel to get it right, but fortunately, most of this is covered up. Did I put the, no, I did not. The thought just crossed my mind that I'm sure somebody has, and I'm going to knock on wood and say, no, I haven't done it yet. But you know what yet stands for? You're eligible too. So if you think it won't happen to you, it just might. Okay, now I'm just going in and I'm dabbing this gap with some glue to kind of fill it. It's going to be more than I need there. It's going to leave a little bit of a bubble, but that's okay because I want that so I can sand it down and make it even later. I'm going to let that sit for a second, and then I'll hit it with some of the Instaset. Do the same on the other side. I'm just filling the gap between these two parts that I can sand down and make a nice, pretty seam. And again, this will be the only way you're really going to see if this is done right is after you prime it, because right now it's too hard with the clear glue and the yellowish color of this vinyl. It's difficult to tell if you got the whole seam right. I'm only going to see it after primer. So now that I got that, I'm going to hit those with a drop of set there, and a little bit on the outside. All right. No smell with the stuff you have. Well, that's good. That's always good to know. But anytime you're dealing with powdered or chemicals, and I mean, call me crazy, and I'm probably going to get some shit for it, but I've never used a respirator while airbrushing. I just don't do it. But I have a spray booth with an exhaust fan that'll suck the butt out of a cat. So, you know, I typically don't have trouble with odors unless my filters are clogged up. But I'm going to get on to the next question here, which is, what would you recommend for a first time push or pull breeches? What are we talking about? I want to know panel line. Oh, you're talking about push or pull chisels? You can get either or. I started out with a couple of hook style. Shoot, I'm looking for my little cow. There it is. The first chisel that I bought was actually by GSI Krios, and this is before I knew what Mr. Color paints were and everything. So this is a little chisel handle, and it comes with removable bits. Now this bit that's in here, pull this out. I'm going to have to use my magnifier to see this. This is a, gosh, I can't even read it anymore. I'm not even sure it's there. But it's a hook style. Can you see the, let's see if you can see the hook. If it focuses, okay, there we go. You can kind of see it right there. And it's probably a 0.2 or 0.3 millimeter hook style. Now, hook styles are all pull chisels. I mean, you can't push them because of the way it's designed. Oh, brooches. Okay. I said breeches. What are we talking about? We're not talking about pants. But either or. I like all of the chisels I have. I have the entire set of the BMC chisels. And I really, really like those. But again, they're pricey, and not only that, stupid hard to find right now. So there's a lot of probably, I mean, George might be able to add in on this. There's a lot of other companies that are making some decent chisels and stuff that will do the job just fine. I bought all my chisels back when you could find them and they were available. And funny thing is, each one of these, when you buy a new chisel, it comes with a sticker pack so you can label each one. And for some reason, BMC always had a number 4 on there, and I've never found a 4 millimeter, but I have all the way up to the 3 millimeter. Let's see here. Am I missing comments? What are we missing here? Well, no, we're still in bounds. I'd recommend push. You can use the plane as well. Yeah, I guess it depends on your application or what you're trying to do. I use those same BMC chisels as push chisels as well, depending on if I'm trying to shave material off or if I'm actually scribing a panel line. Because if I'm scribing a line, I'm pulling it every time. What's up, Julian? How you doing, man? But if I'm trying to like shave some material off, I might use one of those bigger chisels, a 2 or a 2.5, maybe even a 3. And that's typically all. I don't even use those for panel lines. In fact, I can't say that because I did use the larger, I think probably 2 or 2.5 when I did the, no, not 2.5, maybe 2 at the most. But I was basically chiseling a channel for wiring in the wings of the Valkyrie because I had to make space for the wiring in those wing panels. So I needed to kind of chisel out a groove, a channel for that, for that extra space. So I did that. It was kind of a large panel line, I guess, if you think about it, but it was mostly just a big groove to put the wires in. So yeah, that's much better. But again, I think going back, it depends on what you're trying to do. If you're doing small panel lines, 2 and 3, 0.3 millimeter, typically most Gunpla is around 0.3, maybe from probably 0.2 to 0.4 at the most. Oh, thanks, Julius. I appreciate that. Yeah, man, I'm really proud of it too. I can't wait to show it off this year in April when we go to IPMS up here. But if I'm doing a panel line like that, I'm pulling the chisel. If I'm doing little small, like maybe some people will use those chisels to make little detail. Gosh, what's the word I'm looking for? You like a little divot or something, you're not going to use that. You're not going to do. You can use it to push and remove that material, but you got to be careful when using them for push type grooves, because you can kind of blow out that plastic depending on how soft it is. And be real careful not to try to take out too much material at once, because you'll have you kind of blow it out, and then you got to fill it and start over if you make that kind of mistake. But little notches and stuff like that are good. You can use them to push and create notches. That's one of the things I can use those chisels as a push chisel. But typically, if I'm doing an entire scribe line, a panel line, I'm going to use it as a pull chisel. But the hook chisels like this, like the one I showed you earlier, it's the blade is made like a hook. There's no other way to use it. You have to pull it. It's just not designed to be used. Any kind of flat chisel is the only ones you can really use as a push as well. Did that make sense? I hope. Maybe I went too far to that. That's why push is better. It can be used for push and pull. Oh, I see what you're saying. You're talking about just the type of chisel. I thought you were talking about the technique, George. I see what you're saying. Yeah, getting the chisels like the BMC chisels, the ones that are beveled, hardened steel ends. Those can be used for both. And I see what you're saying. So yeah, instead of buying, because if you buy the hook style, then you're limited to what you can do with it. And the abilities that you have with that tool. Yeah, you can resharpen them too. Yes, and I have this guy, which is not what George has. I'll show you what I have. George has the one. Oops, I lost one of my hooks. Got this pegboard over here with some of my tools hanging off of it, but. Since we're on the subject of chisels, here is what I have. And this is the Harp H90B. So there is a dial there. Okay, so that's your angles. And then you've got two thumb screws. One of these is to hold the chisel. This one in the back is what mounts or anchors the chisel. The other one anchors the swivel. So if you wanted to, I don't know why you'd want to, but if you wanted to chisel something or sharpen a chisel at an angle, you could use this, because this thing rotates, and then you use this set screw to hold it. So the way these work. And I will pull out one of my diamond plates here. So this is I've got 4 diamond plates, or 3 diamond plates, excuse me. I got a 400, a 1500, and a 3000. So we'll just use the 3000 just for the sake of showing this off. And these are diamond sanding plates, and I label them on the back so I don't forget. All right, so you got a plate here, and then you've got your roller. All right, so what you would do, and I'll use a big one here just so we can see it better. So this is a 2 millimeter BMC. Take it out of the chisel holder. Okay, set that aside. Now because this is a round opening, the chisel will kind of fall in and stay. Once you use the thumb screw to hold it down, it's going to pretty much hold it flat. And the main difference by the length of how far you have this extended is how your angle will be on the plate. When you put this down on the plate, let's see if I can do this at an angle. You obviously want that chisel face to be flat on the diamond plate. So depending on how far out you extend the chisel is whatever angle you're going to have, the angle that it's going to sharpen at. So you want to make sure that you extend it or retract it until it's flat on the plate, and then anchor it down. So as this goes back and forth, you see what's going to happen. It's going to continuously sharpen that angle. And that's what the roller's for. You just go back and forth, applying a little bit of pressure. And look at your, you can dress up any chisel. I actually sharpened quite a few, actually, that had some little blemishes here and there from just abusing the shit out of them. But I was able to clean them up and really bring them back to life. And the reason I bought 3 plates is so you can start with 400, which is there's quite a few increments in between there, but 400 is aggressive enough to really take some of that material off, and then polish them off with the 1500 and 3000, and that works out great. Is that the Suji burrito? I don't know. It says harp, HARP, but I got this from a friend in Japan, and it's supposed to be better than the one that Tim had. I never used that one. I've only used this one, and I was able to get it from him. But it works very, very well with the Suji burrito BMC chisels. It works very, very well. So that's that. Yeah, because I think this one has the additional adjustment, whereas yours is just one shot, right? Straight in. You don't have the ability to straighten it out, because you might have a chisel that's cut kind of off, and you want to straighten it out so you can adjust the angle of it and actually just grind that blade down and make it straight again. But I always keep it at 0 because I just want the chisels to be, flat. I've never had to change the angle on it. I still don't know what you need that for. I haven't come across the need to have to change the angle on it. Get this back in there. And all this stuff, by the way, not the holder, but these plates can be found on Amazon. That's where I got them from. In fact, I think I used Tim's Amazon link from his website. You can go straight to his tools that he sponsors on or gets sponsored on Amazon, and you can find all those diamond plates on there. I'm talking about Child of Mecca. If you're wondering, when I say Tim Harkins Child of Mecca, he's the one that has the Amazon link on his childofmecca.com website. I think you're somewhere on there. You click on it and it'll take you right to his page that shows all the tools and stuff that he uses. That's where I got them from. That's where I found these little bottles, the squeeze bottles, all this stuff. So anyway, what else are we going to do with this guy tonight? Coming up on 7 p.m., 10 o'clock Eastern. How you guys doing back there on the East Coast? The angle guide will be useful for MadWorks DLC chisels, which are flat blades. Okay. Yeah, see, I haven't used anything other than the BMC, so I know there's other manufacturers out there. I love what Jordan. Oh, yeah, I know that tank is looking pretty damn awesome. He's almost done with it. Anyway, yeah, I haven't used MadWorks or any of the other chisels, so I don't have any other experience with those and what other methods they might be good for. I know MadWorks is pretty good stuff, and I've been telling John about it too. About other ones, I think I've showed him a few in the past that I've come across online, like other options, other more affordable options than the BMC stuff. And the Suji burrito, or Suji burrito, whichever way you want to say it. Suji burrito. I don't know. It's a Japanese name. I'm not sure I'm pronouncing it right anyway. So Let's see. I've done some glue here. I might have to build this up a little more. It's going to be quite a bit of glue on there, but that's okay because that's why we're filling it so we can sand it down and make it smooth. Oh, yeah. Yeah. For those of you that watch George's live stream in the mornings, yes, it's finally done, huh? So you threw some paint. I think the last thing you had to do was paint that handle that you had replaced, that you lost. You broke one off and you glued a new one on this morning. So you painted that, and then you had maybe some other little light chipping or something else to do. So it's nice to know you're finally done with a project. Nothing makes you feel better than going, okay, I'm done. I'm officially done. Speaking of chisels, I'm going to pull this tube back out because now that I've got this glue in here, I don't know if you can see this. I'm going to try to bring it up here and get the light. Okay, right, this right here, right where that gap is. So I've got to smooth all those lines out because those lines are supposed to be all running together down the wing face here. So that's what I'm trying to do. So now now that I've got some glue in there, I can take this chisel and use it as a push chisel and kind of just shave off some of this material and make those lines even again. I was fortunate to get all the BMC chisels and handles I wanted before they became hard to find. Yeah, me too, Julius. I did the same thing. I wanted to get them all in. I think I had red handles at one point, but now, in fact, I'll just do this. I'll just turn the camera. So now I've got all my chisels right there. I got 0 all the way up to 0.8 here, and in the back row I've got 0.9 all the way up to 3 millimeter here. So that's my chisel lineup. Yeah, I was too. I'm still trying to find that number 4. Not that I would have any use for it other than just to complete the collection. But I was talking about it earlier, and every time you bought one of those BMC chisels, they always had a sticker sheet so you could label the holder with the size of chisel that you had, and they always had a 4 millimeter on there. And to this day, I've not been able to find a 4 millimeter BMC chisel. I don't even know if it exists. It's the unicorn of BMC chisels. So, damn, that's a mighty collection. Yeah, I'm proud of it. I'm glad I got them when I did. Some of them were super expensive. In fact, a lot of the bigger ones weren't. It was always the small sizes, like the 0.2s, 0.3, those are the ones that were ran you up there in price. Yeah, on one, you don't even have one, Forrest. Oh, that's a bummer. But you've got other stuff, though, right? Don't you have some MadWork stuff? You got some other stuff, I think, right? Yeah, BMC is hard to find, and hopefully that won't be the case forever. I know they stopped production for a long time, or they slowed production for a long time during COVID. Now that that's gone, let's hope they ramp up again, and maybe this stuff will start becoming more available. Maybe importing it will be a little bit easier. That's the big thing. Is just like it's not so much that companies aren't making them. It's just you can't get the stuff shipped over here. I think that's what the biggest problem is. I'm going to add a little more glue here. I got to build up this seam. This is a pretty big seam here. So this is about layers. It's about adding layers of CA to kind of fill that in and hit it with some accelerator. That will. If you get too much, that's okay. You just use wherever my toothpick went. Did I put it away? I might have put it away. Yeah, just grab another one. You can smooth it out with a toothpick, and then once you get kind of where you want it, hit it with that accelerator And that will seize that shit right up. All right, time for the Insta set. There we go, drop on each side. And I'll let that sit for a minute, but because there is more than I need, I'll just kind of just run my towel over it, and this just soaks up all the excess that doesn't need to really be there. Because once the stuff gets in there under the glue, it's gonna seize it up right away. So the rest is just just not really doing much. It's okay to get rid of it. You have a Micromark set of chisels, but needs smaller ones for HG scribing. What's the smallest Micromark has? I haven't bought anything from them as far as chisels. I didn't even know they had chisels. Because Micromark it's got some really cool stuff, but they can be pricey too with their products. I bought, what did I get from Micromark? A few things from Micromark. What did I get from Micromark? I know I bought stuff from them. Now I'm just having a blank right now. I'm having trouble. And I don't know, you guys don't. I'm just focusing on and thought process. Everything is just jumbled up with all this emotional family stuff that's going on, and it's got me. I'm just a wreck. This is the only thing I've got to really kind of keep me sane or is to kind of chill out and decompress and do this and talk with friends. Because right now it's just a shit show. Oh, I know what I bought from Micromark. I got a small, like a precision punch set to punch out small circles, like for doing masking or something like that. If you want to punch out a circle, they make a larger one that I need to get my hands on, and I haven't seen it in their catalog recently. I saw a friend of mine with it, and I wanted it as soon as I saw it, but when I looked at their website, it wasn't there. They only have the small one, so I'm not sure it's available anymore. But and another thing I bought was these guys right here for us old people. These are called eye adjusters, and they're adjustable magnifiers. You got these little dials on the ends, and as you dial them in, it moves the lenses in, and it goes from 0.5 all the way up to 4 times magnification. For old people who are blind, they work really good. I've seen the ones that George uses, and those are kind of nice, but I'm not sure they're adjustable, are they? Maybe they are. Maybe you tell me about the ones you've got. Picks them up at ValleyCon. What's that? Wait a minute. What are we missing here? The Micromark say they suck, by the way. Really? The Micromark stuff sucks? Well, that sucks. That's too bad. Especially because it's probably pricey as hell. Those glasses are cool. Yeah. If you're blind like me, Ken, you're a young kid, though. I say that. You're not a young kid. You're young. You're a lot younger than me, though. But yeah, you don't need them yet. Well, maybe you do. But these are definitely not cheap. These are like $70, I think, these damn things. But I kind of like them. I don't use them all the time. Usually I get away with these. These are just my standard 2.5 little reading glasses that I bought. Your eyes are older than you are. Yeah, I know. I know the feeling. Hey, I found my other toothpick. Or at least maybe that's the same one I was using. I don't know. See what I'm talking about? Just this kind of small shit. So yeah, Micromark's got some pretty cool stuff. They are kind of expensive though. So spend your money wisely. But they do got some really cool tools. Really, they specialize in small tools, micro tools, power tools, like miniature little circular saws and grinders and little lathes and all sorts of cool stuff like that. But yeah, you could go down that rabbit hole for hours and hours and spend a shit ton of money on their site. I do hope, for the sake, though, of all the people out there who really do want to get BMC chisels, that they do start to become more available again, because they really are, as far as I can see, the best, But MadWorks and companies like that, and some of the, was it Dispay? Is that how you say it? Some of those are coming out with some really good stuff. So the competition's out there for more affordable solutions to that kind of stuff. But currently, right now, I'm happy with the ones I got, and I'm happy with that sharpening tool, or the sharpening guide, I should say. No, that was not my finger. It was awfully close. I'm just doing some cleanup work on these edges. Some of the edges on the feet, they don't really need to be straightened. They're not doing anything other than just, it's my attention to this detail and realizing that there's a curved line that should be a straight line. So I'm kind of just shaving off some material on the foot here. Ditto. Yeah. Do you like those magnifiers you got, George? Because I know you got a set that you wear on your head. It's kind of like they're kind of out in front of you a little bit. And I've seen those. I almost bought a set a few years back before I got those Micromark ones. And they come in different colors too. Those Micromark ones. I got the black ones. There's a turtle shell one for the ladies. I know Tex Merkis, I know she bought a set after she saw those. She's like, okay, I got to get them. She bought some, but they also make a silver, I think it's like a stainless steel color or silver color as well. So they do come in a variety of fashionable colors for you. So see, to me that looks better, because this line was just curved right here, and it should be straight. So I was just shaving a little bit of that material off just to straighten it out. What we got? Sorry to change the subject. Is Wednesday nights going to be your normal time for live stream? I'm not doing Sundays anymore. I talked about this actually right when I switched. I was trying to see, when I first started streams, I was doing them on Sundays. I had some friends, my wife included, encouraging me to do live streams like this and just build and talk with friends and answer questions, something like that. So I picked Sundays, but it turns out, Sundays were trying to be more of a family day, and it was hard. I was trying to balance the hobbies with family stuff and stuff like that. So I found it easier just to pick a day during the middle of the week rather than Sunday. So probably not. If I do a Sunday, it'll be a special show, but typically it's going to be all Wednesday nights now. Hopefully that answers the question. Yeah, so it seems to be working out pretty good for most of the viewers. And another thing too, I guess Sundays were good for me because I'm always off on Sundays, but again, other people, are enjoying their weekends too, and they're not going to be around the computer or whatever to watch a live stream. So I think during the week just seems to work out better for everybody. Even though people have to work the next day, at least they're not on a family weekend event or something, and they can sit back and decompress after work and watch the show and participate. I do love them, but they're all I know and have used. You're talking about your glasses. Yeah, I think they're kind of nice. They're a set magnification though, right? They're not adjustable, or do they have different lenses that you can install to change up the magnification on them? I used to have actually I still do. I don't even use it anymore, but it was Optivisor, the big headgear one that had fold down lenses. I used to use those all the time until I got the regular reading glasses because that thing would just make me sweat. I was just wearing this thing. I'm like, God, on a hot summer day, forget it. I just got tired of using it. So, yeah. So the Micromark ones are good, especially when I really got to get in close to something small. If I'm doing some really detailed painting or something like that, those Micromark they work great. Those eye adjusters, they work really well. I say Micromark, but it's not their brand. That's just where I bought them. You might be able to find them somewhere else. I have an Optivisor with switches being 3.5. Yeah. See, I kind of did the same thing. The Optivisor was like the thing at the time. It was like, this is what everybody's using. And that's what I did too. But it just got to the point where it's just this bulky headgear. And it's like, God, I can't. I'm sweating, trying to use this thing in the summer and just having something on your head. Like even this thing, I have one of these that I use every now and then. This is just a headlight, straps on your forehead and flexible LED. It's got a little spotlight on the side if you want to use that, which works out really, really well, But if you wear this for a while, eventually this headband, you start to sweat. Pretty soon you got a bead running off your eyebrow. Wait. I'm sorry, what we got here? Works like this was. This is perfect. I was needing to watch. Sorry, I'm trying to read this. Here we go. Need to watch a chance for inspiration. Might have work things. So thanks for being here tonight. Oh, you're welcome, man. That's why. That's another reason I'm doing this. It's a great place for everybody to get together and just chill and have a good time. Especially with real life shit that's going on, especially what's going on in my life right now. I need this, as much as I literally just got off the phone too, like minutes before the stream tonight with my mom and trying to talk to her and keep it together, because we know what's going to happen. We know what's coming. We just don't know when. And so I'm going to be very, very busy. In fact, on that subject, I may be unavailable very soon for a while. I don't know because I've got ain't no time for eyebrow sweat. Yeah. I am also the person responsible for the estate after my mom passes, and so I'm going to be very, very busy with all of that. So I'm going to try to continue doing these every week, just like normal. But I'm sure there's going to be some time where I'm going to have to step away for a week or two, or who knows, until I get a handle on everything that's going on. Unfortunately, I've got family to help, and they're all ready to help, get through this process. But there's going to be a lot of traveling. I'm sure I'm going to have to go out to Arizona. There's going to be a lot of emailing and talking to banks and all sorts of stuff that's going to happen. Just to get this, get everything settled when the time comes, and that's going to be the hard part. So I will continue to do these on Wednesdays every time I can, but don't underscore your yeah, he's right, George. I mean, Julius is right. I appreciate it. I appreciate your kind words, George. We try to be. I mean, I'm not perfect by any means, but we try to be, better every day. You get up, you go to work, you try to do some good in the world, like you say every morning, Joey. Do some good. Treat people like you'd like to be treated if you can, to the best of your ability. Do the best you can. It's all that's expected of you. We're not perfect people. We're not perfect beings. We're all going to make mistakes, but we wake up and we do the best we can each day, one day at a time, really. And that's what it's like for me right now, especially with this serious family illness. I work with a guy who just lost his uncle from the same disease, pancreatic cancer, and it took him in a week. He was diagnosed a week ago and he's gone. I mean, that's how quickly it got a hold of him. Now, I've been fortunate that it has not taken my mother that quickly. However, she will be in hospice as we speak. So, yeah. Such a deal. You're way too kind. Oh, George. Yeah, we try to be humble, This community is a great bunch of guys and girls, And we'll say, it might sound cliche, but where can you go and you have a bunch of people hanging out like this? I mean, I'm sure there's hobby groups for lots of any kind of hobby out there, but this is the one we choose to do, and this is the one we gravitate to, and a great bunch of guys and girls. I have to say that because there are some very, very talented lady builders out there. A lot more so than used to be, I think. That's awesome. Like the aforementioned Tex McKees and Vanderlei. Who else? Who else can I think of? Thanks, Julius. I appreciate it. I really, really do. I mean, my dad passed away almost 7 years ago. We had to deal with that, and they were in Arizona as well, and we went out there, and I got a phone call one day at work. I was working on a Saturday, and I got a call and said he's got 3 to 5 days. So I went home and thought about it, like, where should I go? Should I stay? What should I do? Anyway, I decided to get on a plane. That's all right. Let's do it. So I made, booked a flight, flew out, and they were pretty spot on. It was about 3 to 5 days. They were really spot on. So you deal with that, but the time I spent there, as much as I didn't want to go, I knew that I would regret not. So I did, and the more time I spent there, the easier it was to accept what was going to happen. We kind of knew we surrounded ourselves with excellent people. Everyone, yeah, I agree, George. You guys are all awesome. And thanks, Mike. I appreciate that. I'm sorry about you lost your mom a few years back. But like I said, when sitting in the room and witnessing the process of what's happening, I'm glad I went through it, even though it was, it was tough. It was painful to watch, but like I said, after sitting there in the room for a while, it made it, after a couple of days, it started to make it easier to accept what was going to happen, because you're just there watching it. And I'm sure I'm going to be doing the same thing here shortly with her. It sucks. It sucks, but it's part of life. And, everybody needs to be there with their family members during their last days. It's just, for me, it was, you come to accept it. If you're there, you watch it happen, you start, it's just easier to accept as the time goes on. And then when they do pass, it's not as bad, because you kind of just, you had the time to say your goodbyes, and then, you give them permission, and they go. Hey, Pabs. Wow. How you doing, buddy? It's got to be pretty late for you too, right? Chris Pabs in the house. I surround myself in paint. What? You don't surround yourself with model builders? I guess you're right. Well, Pabs is one of those guys that you got to look up to for. You talk about skill. Damn. The boy's got some skills. Got some serious skills going on. Oh, that's right. I forgot. Pabs is a recently, well, not super recent though, but your baby's been around for a little while, right? Oh yes, Build Sideways. Yeah, I gotta listen to that more often. I don't get the opportunity. I guess I'm just making excuses, but there's so much going on. Sometimes I forget to listen to the podcasts that I know are out there. I have listened to a few, but I got to get into that more often. It's this is actually coming up really nicely. I've added a few layers of CA glue and use the Instaset on them. I've got to fill a little bit more on one side, but it's starting to come together. I mean, you can still see the seam there, right down the middle, but it's all filled, so it's starting to smooth out this seam right through there. You flatter me, Mike. Baby is 10 months old on the 5th. He's almost out the door. Oh, no. You got lots of time, bro. All my kids are grown. My youngest is 24. Gosh, have I forgotten already? So they're all living on their own now, And they're out of the house. I'm an empty nester when it comes to that. So, well, my friends, we've been on for about an hour and a half, almost an hour and a half to the dot. And I think I'm really glad everybody who came in here tonight chimed in, say hello. I appreciate every single one of you. This is a tough time for the family. So, again, I really, really appreciate everybody. I love all of you. And we're going to keep doing this. We're going to keep going as long as we can. But with that being said, I'm going to quote something from what George says every morning. Keep doing what you do. Time to hit the road, yeah. And see you guys tomorrow, or see you guys next week. And I'll see you, George, in the morning on your live stream. If I don't catch you live, I watch it or I listen to you like a podcast when I go to work. But yeah, I'm going to say, like what George says every morning, keep doing what you do. Make a difference. And, be good humans and tell your family members you love them, because you never know. You never know when when it's going to come that time where you got to say your goodbyes. So love everybody. Appreciate it. Thank you so much for coming out. And we'll catch you next time. And we'll see you on the flip. Have a great weekend, everybody. You bet. We'll talk to you guys later.